And the doctor looked at me and said, "Your son will never function in society, and you need to accept that now."
Oof. Oof. Okay, that was a pill. Okay. How does that feel now? Like thinking about that moment?
I so badly want to take my son back to him and say,
You should.
this.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Don't Shrink the podcast. And today we are joined by one of my personal heroes. This is Shelly McLaughlin, and she works with Pathfinders for Autism. Shelly's actually the director or the program director there. And it's a really incredible organization that is reshaping here in the DMV and reaching out in every aspect that maybe you wouldn't even imagine that this organization could be so impactful. They are elevating the face of law enforcement. They are educators to the education here in the DMV, and they are huge advocates and a huge resource. So we'll make sure that we give you some information about reaching out or even sharing and donating to an amazing cause. Now, the reason I'm really excited that Shelly is with me today is Shelly has stepped up for me. She has stepped up in my life. We had a situation where my daughter was in a school and there were children with autism, undiagnosed autism, and they needed some real resources. And Shelly's team stepped up and showed up in a really big way and made a really big impact in that school, not only for those families, but the school alike in giving this resource to the school. This is something that private schools or daycares, things don't typically have. And now I can tell you and attest to you how grateful they are to have had your team come and visit. So, Shelly, thank you for that. And the second part is
Oh, well,
Shelly's team is doing some really incredible stuff, and we all have question marks when it comes to law enforcement and how things are rolling out. But Shelly is also responsible for my husband's program in his agency, where they have rolled out this amazing program that just gives new life and new resources to officers alike about when someone is struggling with mental health or a autistic child or even an undiagnosed adult. They are offering these incredible resources so that when these people are being encountered, these law enforcement officers or officials have this whole new set of skills to really approach the person where they are and where they're coming from. So I'm in awe. I'm fangirling. Thank you for visiting me. What you need to know about Shelly, though, she's a real hero. Even in her own life, Shelly has a autistic son of her own. And in hearing her story and getting to know her, she had the choice several times in her life, from what I've heard, to be a victim, to really have been a survivor or a victim. And she has this amazing energy, which she's about to unfold on you, that she shows up as a hero in every frame of her life. So, Shelly, that was the longest intro I've ever given on a show, but totally appropriate.
thank you. Oh, geez, look, I can live up to these accolades. Thank you. You're so kind. And I'll tell you what, we love with your husband. Bringing us in to be part of their crisis intervention team training is an absolute joy for us. We've taught over 20,000 officers, over 900 police classes, helping them better understand individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities. Along with that too, we also teach individuals with developmental disabilities how to be safe in the community, how to interact with police. For instance, I run these mock traffic stop events all over the state. Your husband has come and observed at one of them.
Always impressive.
Actually, we have opened those up because they don't teach what do you do when you get pulled over. They don't teach that in driver's ed. So we've opened it up to everyone.
Oh, wow.
It's
okay.
Fully inclusive. Everyone is welcome. We have them coming up all over the state. They're listed on our website. As a matter of fact, last week I ran a mock traffic stop event, and there was a 61-year-old woman who came, and she said, I'm here because I've never been pulled over and nobody's ever told me what to do if I do get pulled over.
What do I do? Like, what do I do if I get pulled over? Like,
And we're trying to help the 16-year-old girls so that, they don't just cry hysterically when that happens. My daughter, did that. So,
oh God, the first time I ever got pulled over, like all the things you probably remember, I don't know. I've always been a perfect driver. No, it was like, I remember just like in that moment, like the gravity of like being pulled over, and I was doing 10 over the speed limit in a rural area. I deserved it. Right. But no one teaches you. That's absolutely true. And what a vulnerable place to be, right? Like you're isolated, right? You're in the car by yourself. It's not a skill, right? So what's appropriate conduct?
it's not intuitive.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it feels adversarial,
There's
right?
rules.
Yeah.
There's rules. And people aren't being told. It's like if people just need to be told.
Okay. I was like, that's it. We have to put a link for that training in because I think we all need that. Is like, how do we feel safe? How do we communicate effectively? Yeah. Awesome. I'm so glad you're doing that. There's just so many amazing things that you guys are doing in this program. And even Rich brought home a bag, like a bag for children with all these sensory tools so that when they have an event where they're helping a family or helping a child or maybe a lost child or a parent who had a mental health crisis, they have these physical tools, these things that they can use to communicate with children, to entertain them, to make them feel safe. Like, you guys have thought about this. You guys are like front runners understanding this.
I cannot take credit for the. So we show them at all of our police trainings.
Yes.
But the Husband Institute for Autism.
Thank you.
They're the ones who created those. They're the ones who packaged them, and they provide them free of charge for all law enforcement.
We have to share that. We have to share that so that all agencies know that this is something available to them, and they want to meet the public at the right interval and the right intensity, and that's huge. So we'll make sure we put their info in here as well. All right, Shelly, you're not just the face and you're not just the inspiration, because you've had your own experience with autism. You have a 20-year-old son. How old is he now?
He's 23.
Oh my God. Okay. What's that like? What's that like to...
Oh, I'll tell you what. It's like right now I can breathe with him. When he was younger, we knew he was not going to be successful in a public school setting because of the crowds, the chaos. And so he had been kicked out of 3 preschools. And the last preschool, the one that kept him, his first day there, he was 4 years old. His first day there, he said to the owner, "I'm the bad kid in class." And she looked at him and she said, "That ends today." And they made such simple accommodations for him. When they would do circle time,
Yeah.
Hunter couldn't sit there in circle time. he couldn't.
Yep.
And so she
Not
didn't
because he
make
didn't
him.
want
She
to.
let him sit
Yeah.
at the table. She let him do puzzles and whatever activities he wanted to do. When the teacher would ask questions, about a book she was reading or something, Hunter would call out all the right answers. So
Yeah.
as long as he was given that accommodation, he could participate. Something that simple that other preschools just,
Didn't provide.
weren't willing to make these accommodations. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
he did go to a private school for kindergarten and first grade. But then in first grade, by the spring of first grade, we were no longer able to financially support that.
It is. Yeah.
The tuition, we're talking, 25,000 a year. And also they were not able to support his behaviors. He was throwing desks and chairs. And
It only
so
grows as
we
they
were
do.
granted
Yeah.
yes. And we were granted a non-public status. So he went to the Kennedy Krieger School, second through fifth grade. And that's something that our county had to pay for, had to pay that tuition. Um, it, it, it- I believe it was the right setting initially for him. He would have a very different opinion of
Interesting.
that. And
Yeah.
he is quite vocal about that opinion, about why to him, he thinks that was a bad decision.
So putting him in a specialty
And
school,
then,
he actually felt now as an adult, he's telling you that was not the right decision.
yes, now as an adult, he says, you put me in a mental institution for school.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So,
There's some mom guilt. I know all about
and
that. But
yeah, yes, lots. And so then for sixth grade, we put him in a different non-public. It was not as restrictive. He
Yeah.
still to this day says he wishes I would have let him go to a mainstream public school.
Wow.
Again, at those ages, I don't
Yeah.
know how he would have even navigated a huge cafeteria of chaos.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't have much faith that the public school would be able to adequately meet his needs. I worried about bullying.
Sure.
And so even though he says that he wishes that he had gone to a public school, he was able to take multiple times the broadcasting class
Oh,
that
yeah.
was
Yep.
at the public, and he could do some filmmaking and things in there.
He
And
found his
he
passion.
really developed,
Yeah.
he found it. So when he graduated, I tried to have him look at, there's a place, Sheffield Institute for the Recording Arts. They have a school there.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's a working school. And I tried to get him to look at it. And he
Yeah.
kept telling me, no, no, no. Took me 2 years to get him to tour it. Finally, he said to me when I brought it up again, and he said, I don't want to go to a place for people with disabilities. And I stopped and I thought, what?
Yeah.
And then I realized the institute is in the name. And I never
Packaging.
considered that.
Yeah. That was, yeah.
And I thought,
He really did have a
that's it. And
adverse reaction to that word. Yeah. To that. Wow. So
yes.
He
And so
went. Yeah.
he went, he toured it. I took him for the tour. And the director for the Video Works program is who gave us the tour.
Yeah.
And as soon as Hunter walked in, you could just see it was like this, I'm home.
He found
And
his place.
he and the
Yeah.
director were able to talk tech, and they walked in, Hunter's like, oh, I know that software. And they started talking about the software and started talking about all these technical things. And it was like, as he's talking, I'm like, oh, we're signing papers before we leave. So he
You're like, I'm in.
finished. finished the video works program.
Yeah.
And he now, so he finished that in April, and now coming up in October, he's going to do the companion program, the Audio Works program, because that
Nice.
really will help with film editing.
Yeah.
And so that's what he wants to do. He wants to do a film editor. And quick shout out to Mom, because my mom
Yeah.
footed the bill. So,
Yeah.
huge,
Yes.
grateful to the ends of the earth that she did that for him.
We'll definitely give her a shout out. She deserves that. It takes, it's funny that you say that, because it takes so much support and resources, right? And this is still a fairly new, I don't know, disability. I think we're calling it that, but everybody, and correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe I don't know as much about it, but autism presents differently in everybody. So even if you are a mom, a parent, a teacher, like, autism doesn't look the same for almost anybody, right? It's such a unique condition, or yeah. So how did you know what, I mean, you had a PhD in your son, right? That's all you can really do. You had a PhD in your son and who he was, and is that how you did it? Is that how you got through it?
Almost. It was, I'll tell you what, the day that he was diagnosed, there was a doctor who told me, the one who gave us the diagnosis for him, said to me, because as he's talking, tears are starting to roll down, because, all of a sudden you're hit with this, okay, what does this mean?
Right.
This is life-altering news. And the doctor looked at me and said, "Your son will never function in society, and you need to accept that now."
Oof. Oof. Okay, that was a pill. Okay. How does that feel now? Like, thinking about that moment?
I so badly want to take my son back to him and
You
say,
should. He's
this is
brilliant. Like,
what
every story I've ever heard
function.
about Hunter is like sound engineering, like technology. Like, he's a genius in his own right. He just doesn't sit on the carpet with the other kids, right? Like, big deal. So, all right, so you're gonna have your day in the sun with this doctor, assuming he's still in rotation. But I think that comes down to just
I,
misinformation, right?
I hope he's not. Really hope he's not still practicing.
Yes, I was gonna say, like, we'll look him up later. Well, yeah, that might be a Google stock later. But isn't it amazing, like, what we know now about autism, right? And thank goodness for your organization too, because I think even then, like, the information I had, right, or even the few kids that you knew growing up probably fit in that category. Our understanding now is so different than it is today.
And we can find resources and information now. Whereas when it, when we got that news,
Yeah,
and we had the internet, so I could start looking, but it was that I don't know what to do next, because when they give you the diagnosis, it's
yeah,
not like they say, okay, here's a manual, here are the steps, this is what you should do. They at least back then. Now we have developed at work, a what to do when you get the diagnosis kit.
thank God,
Now there
right?
are such resources,
Yes,
but at the time, so I'll tell you what I did. What was my saving grace
please.
is the very next day I hit Google, and because I had been working
Yeah,
in a different nonprofit in the field of disabilities,
yep,
I was aware of autism societies. So I thought, I know they have chapters. Let me
yeah,
see if they have one in my county. They did. And I started going to their meetings, and I was able to talk to other families who were going through the same thing. And I was able, and we were
yeah,
able to share information. And at that time, I had no information to give. I was just soaking up information and asking questions,
yeah,
and having that support of, okay, I'm not the only one. Other families are surviving.
Surviving.
and
Yep.
started
Yep.
becoming friends with these other families. And that made the biggest difference. And that is something that I tell every family when they're getting a diagnosis. Seek a local support group. And on our online provider database for Maryland, we have them listed.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But if, outside of Maryland, Google, local support groups for autism.
Yeah.
And there's also on Facebook, there's thousands of them. Find your people.
Yeah.
Because they'll share with you what did they go through? What challenges did they have? What did they do? How did they get through school meetings? How did they find a doctor, a dentist, somebody that could cut hair? And again, those are things that we have in our provider directory. But if you're not in Maryland and you don't have access to that type of directory, go to other parents. Other parents will have the best information for you.
That's huge. So just coming out of isolation, right? Like you're not the only one this is happening to, right? This is not just happening to you. There are other people out there, because that would be distressing to me if I was in this bubble thinking that I have this situation and no one can relate to me, no one can actually help me through this. So that's sort of your mantra, right? Is like coming out of isolation, right?
Yes. Find your people.
I love
Because they
I
will
love
you can walk into a support group meeting and just break down in tears. And you know that you're surrounded by people that are going to help you get through this.
Yeah. They've seen this. They've seen things happen. So that's huge, because that is the title of our show, right? Is like, you didn't shrink in that moment, right? You didn't say, okay, this is it. I have to like change my entire life. I have to, move to another county. I have to whatever. Like, there were definitely resources you had to seek out, but by you not shrinking in that moment, you not saying, I'm a victim, this is going to be hard, the rest of my life is going to be impacted. You found huge opportunity, right?
Right.
Have you always been this much of a badass, or is this just based on becoming a mom?
Oh, well, I'd like to say that, but then there was a period of time where I did feel that, like, in a totally different situation,
Yeah.
an isolated victim. And, you know, I should have taken the same approach, but I'll tell you, when you're in a abuse situation, and I want to point out, it is not my kid's dad.
Oh, yes.
My
Okay.
kid's dad, Jeff, and I are great friends.
Oh,
He and I are great friends. We back each other.
you're a good team.
Where it is not him. It was somebody I met after him.
So
And
so after having an autistic child, then this situation
after the
occurred.
divorce. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And so after the divorce, and I'll tell you, having a child with autism it's hard. It's stressful on marriages.
Yeah.
It's very stressful because when your child has behavior challenges, you're just trying to survive each day, and you're trying to get through each therapy,
Oh God, yeah.
the calls from the school,
Yeah.
you're just trying to survive.
How do you
And
even find time to date at that point, right? Like, that's my like, it's like, how did you segue into like, you know, you're not together anymore, you're co-parenting, and then you're also thinking about dating. So that probably played a big lead into that too, right?
well, the only reason I was able to date is because we had 50-50 custody.
Nice.
So it's
Okay.
like, okay, on the days that I don't have the kids,
Yeah.
um, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
the first relationship out from the divorce was turned into a domestic abuse situation. And it's the frog in the boiling water. scenario.
Yep.
You know, you don't know anything about narcissistic personality disorder, and they come at you like the white knight.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh,
There's
it's
like the love
so
bombing and all the, oh, but I'm the only one who can
and
rescue you. Yeah.
yes, and you don't know the term love bombing. If you've never heard of narcissist, or if you're not familiar with narcissistic personality disorder,
Yep.
you don't recognize love bombing. It's so easy to fall into.
Especially when you're
And
a mom and you're tired and you have all these things going on. You're not expecting someone is
yep,
manipulating you and grooming you for this situation. You're just like, wow, somebody's finally coming in and giving me some peace. I've already had these hard things happen in my life. I'm overcoming. Now, this, like you said, white knight came in, but it didn't end up being a white knight.
no. And you know, it, it's gradual. So it's little things. And you know, a little thing can be easy to overlook. And then it's this little thing. Okay, but it's still a little thing. And it's
Hmm.
this little thing. And it's okay, that's still a little thing. All right, well, now this thing's a little bigger, but it's gradual.
Yeah.
And by the time you realize what's really happening, it's too late.
Yeah.
And, you know, the strategies that they use to scare you and to control you, and the things they do to keep you quiet, and then they start isolating you.
Oh
It
gosh.
got to the
Yep.
point where I was not even allowed to call my parents. Um, I was not allowed to have any communication with family, with my friends. And then he was going to my family and friends. And I didn't know this at the time, and saying these horrible things about me to
Triangulation.
all of these people.
This is
And
textbook, right?
and
This is,
I'm not allowed.
yeah.
Yes. And I wasn't allowed to speak to any of them. And so now the only voice you're hearing is
Is
that.
is
That
his,
monster
right?
is the only voice you're hearing, and you're not hearing anybody else to counter
Even your
what
own.
he's saying,
Right? Because even your own voice is
right?
just suppressed because you're like, "No, I must be crazy. It must be me seeing this the wrong way," right? Can I point out too, a
Gaslighting.
lot of times we think of domestic abuse and we think socioeconomics, we think about education, we think about geographics being like a thing. It happens everywhere and it happens in different ways and levels. So just because somebody, comes from a very affluent area, they have a really affluent job, they have a really important position, doesn't mean that they're not abusive and manipulative and narcissistic. And I think sometimes it makes
Mm,
those kind of people easier to hide in plain sight.
right. And, you know, I have a master's degree. So I didn't think of myself as particularly dumb,
Yep.
but he was telling me, you know, all the time how I wasn't smart about this. I didn't know this. And again, with the gaslighting too, it starts to, you know, a few years of this and you're believing it because nobody is countering that. And you're believing it. And
Yeah.
again, you're so afraid to say anything. So
Yeah.
when he left, and it turned out that his girlfriend gave
Oh,
him an ultimatum
oh,
to leave
good.
me.
Okay. So yeah.
So, so actually, that really, that was actually a blessing.
Yeah.
Um, I went to the local domestic abuse center,
Yeah.
and they started asking questions, and I'm like, "How do you know this? How do you know
Right?
that? How how do you know that happened?" And you know, and then you start realizing, wait a minute, what? There's
Yeah.
things written about this? Wait a
Yes.
minute, what? That's a tactic? And so going to, well, the individual therapy there
Yep.
and the group therapy, where you're hearing other people talk and you're like, what? How, wait a minute, that's exactly what happened. And
Yeah.
just to give you some perspective on just how bad he is of a person, his attorney sent my attorney an email. Now keep in mind,
Oh boy.
I wasn't talking to people. people. So it was not known that I was going to this. There were maybe 4 people that knew that I was going to the domestic abuse center.
Yeah. Intimidation knows no limits, huh? Yeah.
His attorney told my attorney that they knew I was going there and that could be damaging to his client's reputation, and that if I didn't stop, they would seek legal action against me.
So if you didn't stop getting the help you needed, if you didn't stop going to therapy, they were going to sue you. Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty much, that doesn't get any more deliberate than that. That I need someone to feel like they have no options. I need to isolate somebody beyond control, beyond even reason. I can't believe an attorney would actually approach with that. But I guess my other question is like, what was that break moment for you? Like, what was the moment that you're like, I can't shrink anymore. I can't do this.
Well, it's been years.
Yeah.
For years I was still afraid.
Yeah.
Because every now and then he would still pop up. Last year, my daughter's now Facebook with him.
Here we go. This is textbook. Yeah, go ahead.
Last year. Now he's been gone since 2017.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Last year, sent a message, "Hey, it's been a long time. How are you?" And she's like, "What the fuck?" She goes, "Oh, I'm going to respond." I'm like, "No,
do not
dignify that. Don't respond." Like, "Oh, let me." I'm like, "No." And I said, he only did because he knew you would tell me, and he was hoping that would put me in panic.
Yes.
As a threat, like, I can still get to your family.
And clearly he's still threatened by you. Otherwise, he would just let you out of his entrapment. Can I tell you though that, like, I know we talked a little about this before, but what you're describing, like I said, is not even specific to women. Like, I've had clients who have dated people, and I'm talking men, and the person they broke up with, who obviously had narcissistic traits and tendencies, and would move apartment buildings to follow that person. And they would find ways, like you said, reach out to their children through, right? Any way to sort of stay in, create that, right? And this person was terrified to be at a restaurant with anybody new that they were dating or with because of that exact situation. This person is a bona fide narcissist and abusive, manipulative, but they hide it so well in their charming exterior that it just seems like a casual, "Hey, I'm checking in on you." When we know that that's textbook for, "I'm keeping tabs on you and I want you to know I'm still watching you." Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
yeah. This is what I mean. Yeah. This is what I mean about you being my
I
personal
did feel
hero.
like,
Go ahead. Yeah.
well, I was living in a black hole for a long time, just in fear, feeling like it takes you to a really bad place.
Yeah.
And it, it's, it, I wish that someone else knew what was happening.
Yeah.
And could have taken me out of that isolation, because maybe I wouldn't have gotten so desperate.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was hard. I didn't want to be here anymore. And I really wish somebody had known,
Yeah.
so that they could have said, this is what you're experiencing. This is what he is. These are the tactics. This is textbook.
Yeah.
And we need to help get you out.
Yeah. And I think,
That's what women, they need to recognize that what's happening. Well, and men too, recognize what's happening and not sink into that isolation that they want to put you in. Talking to somebody, even at the risk of knowing that, this could be dangerous that I'm talking to somebody. They want you to believe that.
Yes, right? That
But
somehow you're hurting
bringing
them
light
by
to
telling
it
people. Yeah.
and letting other people know what this person really is,
Yeah.
it's all the difference in the world.
Shelly, if you could look back now, because I mean, you're in a great place and thank God you're still here because we need you. And obviously, we need you on this earth. You have an amazing voice, and we're going to do a flex off later too, because I've seen your gym routine. But the truth is, what like looking back now, let's say I'm your girlfriend, you see me dating somebody, right? What are 3 flags that you wish you now could say, these are 3 flags. Please look out for these things.
Right. Well, I would look for the love bombing. Look for, hey, why is he coming on so strong so fast? Why is he promising you the world so fast?
Mm,
Why is he sending you these gifts? Why is he, pointing that out? Something else is the control. Um, the, whether they're looking at your social media. Who's that guy? Why'd he comment on your post?
Oh, yep, yep.
Who's, or you go out with your friends. Well, who are you going out with? Well, what
Mm,
guys are hitting on you? That was something else that happened is because I teach
jealousy.
police classes,
Yeah.
it was, and back then to help me to state mandate, I was teaching police classes every single day for a couple of years.
Yeah.
We were covering the whole state, all the big agencies, and every day after work, who hit on you? Nobody hit on me. Who hit on you? Nobody. You're lying. Who hit on you?
So in
Um,
like extreme insecurity, right? Jealousy. That's a big flag,
yes,
right? Sometimes we think that's
yes.
cute when
The
somebody's jealous.
control.
It's not cute. It's like,
No, no, there's nothing cute about it. And then that other piece of, are you still allowed to have your friends? Are you encouraged to have your friends?
mhm.
Or do they, and are, is that person saying all these negative things about you to your friends?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they slowly trying to persuade your family and friends
Yeah.
that, oh, listen to that person
Mhm. I'm the
because
authority. I'm her spokesperson. Yeah.
yes.
You're a tough cookie. I'm just saying. And here's the thing, like I have a little bit of experience in the arenas that you're talking about and personally. And luckily, I had some experience early on in childhood where I could recognize someone's behavior as being narcissistic. And when the dating thing happened, and I know I recognized the person I was dating, and I could identify a lot better. So these are horrible circumstances. But it's one of those things where once you know, you see it and you cannot unsee it. And I'm so appreciative that you're sharing your story with people because it's like you said, frog in boiling water. You don't see it unless you've had some experience first with this person's blow ups and their situation that you need a friend,
Mhm.
you need an outside perspective, you need this podcast, right? To let you know it's not in your head, it really is happening. And do not isolate yourself. Do not, that is your lifeline. And I feel like that's our theme today, right? Is that you, when it came to autism, the way that you mom skilled it up and you upskilled it and you are still killing it as a mom is you were not in isolation and now you're doing that for other people, which is huge. And in this domestic abuse situation, you can see that thank God that you see these flags now and you can see a friend who's struggling or their personality's changing or they're less available or they need to come with a sponsor every time they have a social event, right?
Or if you're out, I have a friend who we would, she's not dating him anymore, but yeah, football. I'm a huge, as I told you, when we first jumped on, I've got the NFL network playing in the background.
That's
I
right.
had to turn it down. football is, I hate the weather that goes with football, but I love the sport.
Yes.
And we would, and, a group of us girls,
Yeah.
made it our routine for every Ravens game. We go out and watch the games. And this guy was calling her multiple times while we were at the game. And it's like, why is he being so trolling? And then telling her, I'm just making sure you're not hitting on any guy, no guys are hitting on you.
It's like, the first. That's got to be the first thing, right? You're a good friend. You're an amazing friend. And thank goodness you have this experience and you're not afraid to talk about it, because people need to hear this. People need to know that.
Not now.
Yeah.
Not now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, thank you for not shrinking. Thank you for not shrinking. We need you, and we need these stories, because you're the best friend everybody needs, right? You're the best friend that everybody needs to look out for them. And I hope everybody else can step up as much as Shelly as a friend today.
Well, here's what I would say is I'm trying to be the person that other people have been for me. So once friends knew what was happening, and again, I kept everything very small, but that small group who after the fact, when I was, dealing with things, I am so grateful for that. And so I just want to help, whether it's in the autism world, being an autism parent, or, being a domestic abuse survivor. I just want to try to be for people what others were for me.
Just paying it forward. Shelly, you're awesome. Thank you for not shrinking. And thanks for doing this podcast with us today. If you are ever in a situation, domestic abuse or autism, please share this information with a friend. This could literally save a life. Shelly, thanks for being with us today on this podcast. Yeah, thanks for not shrinking.
Well, thank you so much.